How do you view money? Hey everyone, and welcome to The Savvy Squaddy. In this video I'm going to attempt to change the way you perceive money in the hope that it improves your mindset and sets you off on the right foot for this new year. Chances are, if you have a negative view of money, people with a lot of money, how you earn money, how you spend it, and so on, then your mindset is completely wrong. If you can relate to this, have a serious think about what influenced this poor money mindset. How were your parents' relationship with money? How was money handled in your household when you were growing up? Especially when you were young, more is caught than taught, and no doubt your parents' financial tendencies have influenced yours. Have you been influenced by Hollywood, who often portray wealthy people as evil, entitled, immoral, etc.? Or have your own personal experiences left a bad taste in your mouth due to your poor financial decisions? Whatever the case, if you think like this, then you have false beliefs about money that are not doing you any favours. If you want to see positive change in your life, and not just financially, then you need to change your mindset. Simply changing your perspective on how you view money will greatly help. To help change your money mindset, I think you first need to know the fundamentals of money. To help with this, let's go over a very brief and simplified version of how money as we know it today came about. Back in the good old days, before money was a thing, people would barter for goods and services that they required. A farmer might trade some eggs for some bread from a baker, and then that baker might trade a couple of loaves of bread to a tailor to put together a new apron that he needs. The bread, however, needs to be gone that day, otherwise it's no longer fresh, but it will take a few days for the tailor to make the apron. So the tailor agrees to the commitment of providing the apron at a later date for the loaves of bread now, and the baker has to trust that the tailor will do it. The tailor's promise is just a verbal one. Bartering depended on the mutual trust of the parties involved. But instead, this tailor is a switched on bod, and after receiving the loaves of bread, he writes on a piece of paper, "The holder of this certificate is entitled to one apron from me, the village tailor," and he gives it to the baker. That piece of paper has now become a store of value, and that value it stores is the same as one apron. Now if the baker decides he actually needs some shoes from the village cobbler, then he might be able to trade that piece of paper for some shoes. Now the cobbler can use that piece of paper to get an apron from the tailor, as that is the agreed upon value of that certificate. What started as a statement of debt between the tailor and the baker now has the function of money. Oversimplified, but you get the gist. The village then see this medium of exchange is actually quite simple and convenient. People no longer have to find someone who has what they need and need what they have to facilitate the trade. Instead, they can go and buy what they need with pieces of paper, or at the time coins, that have a store of value, which is a socially accepted standard unit agreed upon by everyone in the village. Now expand the village to the world. Money is a social construct, meaning it does not exist in objective reality. Rather, it is a result of human interaction. Today, money is no longer on the gold standard, which means it has no intrinsic value. It only has value because we all agree it does. Its worth is based solely off of supply and demand. If there is more money in circulation than there are things to use it for, then that causes inflation, which increases the prices of everything and lowers the value of that money. So essentially, money equals value, and we, the marketplace, determine that value by agreeing to accept a certain amount to purchase or sell goods and services. If tomorrow we decided we would pay no more than 10k for a house, then house prices would fall because the demand isn't there, so prices are lowered until they are on parity with demand. Now that is an extreme example, but hopefully you understand that money only has value because we agree it does. With that understanding, you can now see that when you are paid for the work you do, it is in proportion to the perceived value you bring to the marketplace. This might sound harsh to you emotional infants out there, but an ROC driver is not as valuable as an Apache pilot, so they are not paid the same. The driver is easily replaceable, the pilot is not. You may feel as an individual you add a huge amount of value, but in the broader view of the marketplace, it's not as much as you'd think. And it's the market that decides, not you and your feelings. If you want to be paid more in life, then you need to add more value. Just look at these individuals and their current net worth. How does it make you feel? What goes through your mind when you see these people? They're just lucky. Who had to lose in order for them to gain? They're just evil. No one should have that amount of money. They're all greedy. They must have taken advantage of someone. They're all corrupt. But do you ever actually stop to think and ask yourself, what value have they added to see them compensated such large amounts? For the majority of you, the answer is probably no. and that's because your mindset is all wrong. You give money a negative moral connotation. Regardless of your feelings towards these people, the value that they have added is undeniable. The thing is, money is not evil. It can't be. It's an inanimate object. But it does emphasize an individual's character. If someone is a cunt, then more money will make them more of a cunt, and vice versa. Money is a tool that just opens up more options for people. It is then up to them and their morals to decide on what they use that money for. The contradiction here, of course, is that many of those who hate rich people probably wouldn't say no if handed the opportunity to be rich themselves. This ambivalence leads people to take the easier of two options: change their beliefs or change their financial situation, the former being the easier. Because if people decide that having wealth makes you undesirable, then they will feel better about themselves for not being wealthy. Again, this is completely the wrong mindset, and it is genuinely holding you back if you think like this. In 2021, there were over 3,000 billionaires across the world. Of this, 60% was self-made, 30% was self-made with the help of inheritance, and 10% was purely because of inheritance. So well over half of wealthy people have accumulated that worth because of the value that they have created. Value that you no doubt benefit from due to their vision, commitment, perseverance, determination, motivation, a willingness to fail and learn from that failure, hard work and sacrifice. The point being, becoming wealthy is attainable for the everyday person, but just like the majority of wealthy individuals, you actually have to work for it. It will not be handed to you. Now, if money equals value, then if you increase value, you increase money. But how can you add value to the marketplace? The solution is simple, but it's the execution that the majority of people will fail on. In order to add more value to the marketplace, you need to solve problems. If you create a solution to a problem that a handful of people have, then you won't make a lot of money. But if that solution is scalable and actually helps millions of people with their problems, then you will make a lot of money. One of my favourite books, and one that has heavily inspired this video, is called Unscripted by MJ DeMarco. In that book he says, if you want to make millions, then you need to impact millions. And that really stuck with me. Creating wealth by adding tremendous value is not easy. If it was, then everyone would do it. The reality is, the road is very long and hard, so many people won't even try, and that's fine, that's their choice. Regardless of whether you will try or not, understanding that money is not evil, money equals value, and if you want more money, then you need to add more value by solving problems, you will be in a better position than most who instead cry victim and feel that they are entitled to other people's money even though they have not worked for it. Lazy, entitled shits. This next bit I hope will help put your poor spending habits into perspective by understanding the relationship of time and money. Our most precious resource that we have to offer is our time. It is finite. There's only so much of it, and once it's gone, you can't get it back. We know that money and value have a mutually beneficial relationship. We trade money for value and vice versa. A value that we can all offer is our time. We trade our time for money, a transaction that normally takes place by means of a job. But we can also trade our money for time, paying people for their time for the value they add to our lives by freeing up our time so we can do other things. A simple example for this is that we get our weekly shop delivered to us. We're not lazy, we just value our time, and spending around an hour and a half a week to go out and do the food shop is not a good use of our time. So we pay that bit extra for someone to bring it to our doorstep. But how do you know if something is worth your time or not? Well, firstly, you need to decide whether or not you actually enjoy doing it. There's no point outsourcing something you have time to do and enjoy doing. But also you need to figure out how much you value your time. You need to put a number to it, and the simplest way to do this is to take all of your income over a year and divide it by the number of hours you work. The amount you are paid per hour is how much you value your time. You may feel that your time should be worth more, but the fact that you work for that hourly rate means that is how much you value your time because you continue to work for that rate. I too am in this boat. I feel my time is more valuable than what I am compensated for, but instead of sitting idly by waiting for something to happen, I am taking a bunch of different steps to increase the value that I can add. Money doesn't follow straight away. It takes time, and this is where people fail because they don't see any immediate gratification when it comes to the extra value they are creating. If your only source of income is your main job, then those of you who are serving, I have already created a video detailing what we are paid hourly. Have a look to see the price tag you allow to be placed on an hour of your time. Currently, the value of my time is just over £15 an hour. So if I'm able to outsource something that I don't like doing and it costs me less than £15 an hour, then I'll do it. I know the value of an hour of my time, so I will not waste my time doing things that aren't as valuable. Another example to help illustrate this is perhaps you are buying something online and the shipping is £10. You think that's a bit expensive, but you look around and find out there's a shop 30 minutes away that sells it. You have calculated that your time has a value of £13 an hour. It will take you more than an hour to get there, buy the product and get back, all for saving £10 in postage. Is it worth it to you? Could you be doing something else in that hour that is worth your time? There would of course be times where this makes sense. Perhaps you're going into the shops anyway to do other things, in which case it's an opportunistic addition where you can save £10. But if you did this all the time, then you diminish the value of that time. Let's take a wealthy person as an extreme example of this. At the time of writing this script, Elon Musk's current net worth is $146.5 billion. At an annual rate of return of 6%, a second of his time is worth nearly $280. He could find two $100 bills on the ground and it would not be worth his time to pick them up. But if he did pick them up, it is not a trade-off that prevents him from earning money. It's an opportunistic addition. However, if he spent most of his time picking up money from the floor, then it would lower the value of his time. It's about separating those opportunities that actually increase the value of your time from those that would diminish it. The same thinking can be used when buying something. If you buy a takeaway every week, you can now put into perspective how many hours you had to work to purchase that takeaway, and then decide yourself whether or not you think it's worth it. I do want to be clear, I'm not an advocate of never buying takeaways or coffees from Costa. You will not become wealthy by cutting these out from your life. If it brings joy to your life, then do it. I'm just trying to help you understand the value of your time in the hopes that you don't waste it and instead put it to better use. Trading your time for money is a way of life. You cannot escape it. People say you can by building a multitude of different passive income sources, but you still have to put in time to create those sources and a small amount of time to make sure they continue to work for you. The difference is that the value of your time is much higher. If you relate to what is on screen now, then your money mindset is wrong, and that is one of the reasons that is holding you back. Not the only reason, but a reason. Something as simple as, instead of thinking, I cannot afford this, ask yourself, how can I afford this? This simple switch in perspective will help you take a set of positive actions that will certainly get you a lot closer to affording that item than if you sit there and wallow in self-pity. If you have a negative and defeatist attitude towards money, success, wealth, personal growth, life, etc., then how are you ever going to attain any level of fulfillment in any of these? The answer is, you won't. Don't be a professional victim who thinks they should be entitled to the fruits of everyone else's labour while they sit at home doing fuck all. Take responsibility, control, and ownership of your life. No one will do it for you. Hopefully now your mindset and perspective on money has changed, and for the better. To some people money is everything, and to others it is nothing. The reality is money is something. It is a tool that holds power over too many people because they allow it. But money loses its power over you once you decide to stop trading your life away for it. There is nothing wrong with working or having a job. If anything, it provides purpose for people, which is important in life. But by creating more value, buying assets, creating passive income streams, and having money work for you, then you will have the power over it, and it will not control you. Has this video changed your perspective on money? Do you know of any other tricks to help change someone's money mindset? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you just saw, please hit the subscribe button up there, and if you want to see some more videos, click over there. See you soon.